All right. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to episode 5 of After the Emergency Call, where my good friend Leah, how's it going?
Great.
Excellent. And I do a recap of tonight's episode, or the episode that has aired. So, really quick though, spoiler alert. Let me put that here in the comments. Spoiler alert in all caps for anyone who is joining us. Again, this is a recap discussion of tonight's episode of Emergency Call, and we're about to get started here. So,
Yes,
how's everything going, Leah? We did some stuff earlier today. We had the IPSTA conference.
we did. It's been a
Yeah,
busy day.
it has been a very busy day. There's been a lot of shit going on. We've been awake
Hmm.
for a while, working on a bunch of different stuff, working
Yeah.
through technical difficulties, which was a lot of fun.
Yes. Always fun. Always a good
Mm,
time.
yes, we got through those. That was excellent. And then went throughout the day, watched the show,
Yep.
and holy shit, did some stuff happen in tonight's episode.
Did. I laughed. I cried. Jeez.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. The way James has it right there. Let's start the debrief. Basically, yeah,
Mhm.
that is what we're doing here. Hey, Brent is on. Hey, man,
Heyo.
what is going on, Brent? Oh, thank you, dude. It was our pleasure. It was a lot of fun. It was excellent.
Yes.
So let's go ahead and jump right in. Let's start out with the first call. First call comes out of Ogden, Utah,
Yep.
and I think the call taker was Cody. It was a male
It was.
subject. He called in from a gun range.
Hmm.
Where did it go from there?
Wasn't sure. Well, pretty sure it was a ricochet that hit his 9-year-old daughter,
Hmm.
and they were on their way to the hospital.
Yeah, it was the craziest thing. The call comes in, you can hear the daughter in the background, like she's kind of crying, kind of gasping a little bit, and the caller is, like you said, is talking about it's a possible ricochet and all, and saying that it hit like the middle of her throat is
Yeah.
where it ended up hitting. Now, I have not been on or at a lot of gun ranges. I think I've only been to one,
Oh,
and I've never been obviously never been around when something like that happens. That's pretty crazy.
I have actually.
Mhm.
I've been to a gun range and had like a small, tiny, insignificant piece ricochet back off and hit my leg. I'm like, oh, this is like Forrest Gump. I'm like, oh, something bit me. But
Oh,
I
oh,
was fine.
that is what did you drink a lot of Dr. Peppers afterwards? Actually,
Yeah,
no. Did you eat some
17.
ice cream?
Oh, yeah, that's right.
That
Ice cream.
it was the ice cream after that. Yeah, it was a bullet that jumped up and bit you, wasn't it? Oh, man.
Anywho,
Yeah.
it happens.
Yeah,
But this
yeah, it
one, a 9-year-old, it was terrible. And the worst part about you hear her in the background.
yes. Yeah, that is one of those yeah, definitely one of the hardest parts is when you hear anybody, you know, struggling for anything that is going on, especially when you know that it's a child and stuff and this is going on. It makes it a little worse, and the caller's girlfriend was
Yeah.
there also, helping out, and you can hear I'm pretty sure it was the little girl who kept saying that it burns or something. The girlfriend's like,
Yes.
I know it burns," and I'm like, "Wait, what?"
Mm, yeah.
Now, I think it was cool that, Cody, he says something to the effect of, the call taker never switches off, you just relate.
Yes.
So that's good. I like again, I know we've said it before, but I like that they add, kind of these, little interview pieces,
Mhm.
and them talking about and adding all of that to it.
Agreed. It's a big part of that. And they're showing that, that piece where we're not just answering the phone and sending somebody, they're giving life-saving instructions in the interim until help can get there. And so it's showcasing that pretty well.
Right. Yeah, definitely, and then right at the end, the ETA was like 26 seconds
Yeah.
for help that was getting there, and you're like, "Alright, good." But again, during that time, it feels like forever. And
Hmm.
I think they did well, or they've always done well in capturing that piece of it where you see the ETAs and you're thinking, damn, okay, we got this time going. And even though they're taking, snippets from the
Hmm.
call and, the time's going down kind of fast, it still seems like ages
Right.
when you're going through it. So you still got that going on there. Now this next one is out of Alaska,
Yeah.
and this one was I think I have like 3 little paragraphs here full of information
Right.
from this. So, I believe it was Rhonda was the call taker.
Hmm.
She starts out and then says Renner has been, belligerent or disorderly, hit the caller, who's what, in her, like, her 80s or something?
80, 82 and 83. Yeah.
Damn. Yeah. Um, hit the caller over the head, hit the caller's husband, and then just continued to beat up the husband, and then it's out as assault in progress,
Right.
and the caller's talking about a heart problem as well.
Sure. Yeah. Not in good shape. And at some point, she grabs a club as well.
Yes. Yeah, man. So they end up getting, they've got EMS en route and everything, and they're, between Rhonda and the caller, they're talking. It's like the doors are locked. Yes.
Mhm.
Suspect is outside, which is good.
Yep.
Um, and then somehow, yeah, like you said, suspect goes in Captain Caveman mode and grabs a club and I guess was trying to hit them or was hitting them. That part I wasn't completely
Yeah.
clear on. But at one point, and maybe I heard this wrong.
No, I think
and-
you heard it right. I think I heard it too.
Okay, at one point, it sounded like the suspect was grabbing the husband's balls,
Yes.
like just straight up
Grab those
tackling the coin
balls.
sack. Just I shouldn't laugh,
Poor guy.
but that's what it sounded like it was happening. So, you've got that that's there, and I don't remember if it ended up going to um, a commercial and then it came back, but
Hmm.
then there's a second call with Rhonda, and now this is the original caller's daughter, right?
Yes.
Or
Original
okay,
caller's daughter and her husband are now there because they've gone to the hospital.
the elderly couple went to the hospital,
Yes.
right? Okay, so yeah, then the daughter and her daughter's husband are there. Female suspect is still there, and
Yep.
and she's at it again. But so, what was the reason though that they didn't take her the first time?
They said they didn't witness anything
Hmm.
when law enforcement was on scene. So kind of a no crimes situation or not an arrestable offense situation.
Right? Yeah, they didn't see anything that was going on there. So yeah, so they went on, and she's still there. But now this whole thing starts. It goes into a fight in progress, right?
Yep. Fight in progress, goes after the husband, says she wants a cop to shoot her.
Yes. And who is
That's
the
never
cop who ends
good.
up going out there?
Josie's husband.
Yeah. So and again, that's another thing where when they've got the footage of what's going on in dispatch,
Hmm.
excuse me, as they're talking back and forth, and she mentions it. She's like, "Oh, my husband's headed out there. He's the only one. He's
Yeah.
the only one that's headed out there to this fight in progress." Colors vising that the suspect, like you said, wants the officer to shoot her, and you can hear everyone yelling in the background.
Right.
But at one point before they go to, um, what do you call it, to commercial break, they're showing the flashes of the pictures of them hanging out together and everything,
Yeah.
and then the look on her face, and it's just pulling you in,
Hmm.
and you're like, "Damn it."
I know. And that is, I can actually relate. I've been in a situation like that where you've dispatched your significant other to something that's not so great. And it's any of those situations are bad, don't get me wrong. But when you have that relationship with that person, it's awful. You almost, even if you're not working that console, you like stop breathing and like just are waiting to see what's going to happen next or waiting for the next the next communication. And you know your officers a lot. You know when they sound off, or when they come across the radio and something's wrong, or when they're fighting. It's not great.
Yeah, no, exactly. That was one of the things that when I worked with on a team where my partners had husbands that worked
Hmm.
either that were either deputies or city PD, and there would be a call like that, and they would go out there, and I would look at them and see how they were, and I would say, "Are you all right?" "Yeah, yeah, I'm good. I'm good." I'm like, "Okay." And just would check on them every so often as all of this is going on because, dude, it's like crazy shit. Like it's
Yeah.
crazy enough that all of it is going on, and let's say I'm the one on main radios, and I'm listening and getting everybody out there and doing everything I'm supposed to be doing, but also in listening to all of that, trying to imagine and put myself in their shoes, and that just
Yeah. No pressure.
yeah, even higher. And I've asked them, I remember asking them after after the stuff was done, and saying, how do you do that? Like how do you not just like freak out, or not completely freak out, but just, show anything else?
Yeah.
And they would say, well, I know that they are very good at the job that they do, and
Hmm.
they've got their brothers and sisters out there and us in here.
Yeah.
And I just trust that, everything will come out okay.
And that's exactly it. That's what I was going to say. Because I've had that conversation when I was on the dispatch floor. I would have that conversation with my supervisors. They'd ask me, how do you do that? Or how do you listen to that? Or whatnot. And I'm like, I don't know. What would you do if something happened? And the one who's probably watching right now, I don't know. I'd probably grab the chair and wheel you out and lock the door. Thanks, man.
And and the way you say it and everything as well. I mean, it was the same way they showed it
Hmm.
there. They showed Josie's face and the concern, and you hear the traffic playing, and the fighting and everything else going on, and then calls out 1010, subjects in custody, but they're in custody on the he's with them, or the suspect on the floor, but then says 1060 where they're detained, and everything is good to go. And
Huge sigh.
yes,
Yeah. Sigh of relief.
man, craziness.
It is. It is brutal.
Now, this next one, this next one out of New Orleans,
Yeah.
and I believe it's Anitra. And
Yes.
if I brutaled your name, I'm sorry. Tell Tyrell, he'll get after me instead. But so this guy calls in. His name's Henry. Guy
Hmm.
calls in. Subject's crying, and he says 4 women have pulled up and shot him and took off. Now, if you noticed, the music is intense, and you're, "What? What is going on? What's gonna happen next?" But then what happens?
Well, they shot him and stabbed him. It was a basically like a white bikini bunch on mopeds. I I almost want to see it. I'm not gonna lie. If that exists.
Right, and and as soon as he says that, it, like, kinda zooms in on her face, and the
Yeah.
music goes from intense and dramatic. It's almost like a record player going, because then you're like, "Oh, what?"
But
Like, the
then
music.
now he wants to make a new report.
Yes. Yeah,
That,
and
yeah.
what was that?
Somebody just lady ran up and started licking his nipples. You can't just do that. You can't just run up to somebody and do that.
This is true. I mean, it's like he said, it's sexual harassment, and yeah, she confirmed it. Um, I think the best part was she straight-faced, calm, cool with every single thing.
Yeah,
Everything everything was top priority. Because, like she said, and like we've said many times, it's that one time that
absolutely.
you don't take it serious, that actually happened. I
Mhm.
mean, it's fucking 2020, man, so you never know.
Killer White Bikini Squad, nipple licking, 2020. Never know.
Yeah, exactly. Charlie's Angels could have like turned heel and just completely went apeshit and just got upset.
Right.
But so yeah, he says, now there's just one female, and came back and was licking his nipples, and she ends up saying, while you were bleeding, and he's like, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, while I was bleeding, but then he ends up saying that that female is still there, but across the street, and is laughing at him, and I does he even like yells at her, right, or something?
Yeah.
The
Yeah. He
woman,
yells at her
yeah,
because she's laughing at him from across the street.
right, yes. And I I'm just typing and watching Anitra's face, and I thought, man, you are badass. You are awesome,
A pro.
because I know me, and even though I would have kept everything at its highest priority, I know that I would have covered my probably covered my earpiece or my mouthpiece and chuckled a little bit, because I don't know.
Well, yeah. Did you see Dawn's comment? Her mute button would have been worn out.
Oh, yeah, yeah, there you go. Yeah, exactly. Yes.
Just like
And
that.
let's see. Marilyn says, then I thought, oh, my white bikini's on moped. Yeah, yeah, exactly.
I feel like that's dangerous. What if you crash?
Right. Well, and then when he says that he ends up at the end, he ends up saying that he got shot in the butt, right?
Yeah, in the butt.
And then he starts crying, but right, I mean to throw the butt in there again. However, he he goes from crying to immediately just starts getting nasty with
Mm-hmm.
her, and just starts yelling and swearing and swearing and swearing and swearing, and she asks for him to stop, and he's like, I do what I want. And click.
Yep.
Man, yeah, that was one that I wonder, I think the last week's episode, when they did
Mm-hmm.
the preview, I think that was on there as as a
It
preview of
was.
one of the calls, and you're like, oh, no way. And
Right.
they didn't play the moped thing with the white
It's
bikinis.
not always what it seems.
Exactly. Exactly. Not always what it seems. Now, this next one, uh this next one was a hard one, man.
That's tough.
This one was a tough one. This one comes out of Austin, Texas. It was EMS. Leslie was a call taker on this, and it was 8-year-old girl who, I guess, she was playing hide and seek, right? And
Yep.
she went to a friend's house, and then I guess she got back to her house, but her dad was, scared and everything, and well, she was scared too, because he ends up falling, right?
Right. Falling, passes out. And she's got a little brother, a little sister with her. It seems
Mhm.
like she's the oldest. I think she was 8.
Yes.
But man, kids are some of the worst calls, but they're some of the best callers.
Right.
That kid was awesome. She did
Mhm.
such a good job, and Leslie giving her the reassurance the whole way too. I mean, that was awesome. But yeah,
Yeah.
even started CPR over the phone, or at least checking breathing.
Right. Yes. Yeah, that the whole beginning portion of that, I'm sitting there watching, taking notes,
Mm-hmm.
like doing all this stuff and just flashbacking all at the same time, because my daughter's 9, and
Yeah.
it was making me think, about that. And when you hear, like you were saying, Leslie telling her, you did it, you're doing such a good job, such a good job, made me flashback as well to those
Oh yeah.
calls, taking calls with kids and telling them that. 'Cause you got to keep that reassurance. And you're right, man. For whatever reason, kids are the best callers.
They
They're
really are.
sometimes shit calls, but they're the best callers. Um, and they do everything, man.
Mm-hmm.
That one was a really good one. That right there should be like nominee for
Young hero.
the Young Hero Award,
Young
man.
hero award. All
Yeah.
day.
Yep. All day.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that one was a hard one, but it was good. I had sent you a message, and you were emotional. I was emotional.
Yes.
Those kids' calls, man,
Get you every time.
every time. I'll look over here. Let's see. Brandon says you don't realize how much you're in the zone when you're the one doing it and not watching someone else do it.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Totally different from it being your job to you witnessing something or watching it after the fact or knowing about it after the fact.
Yeah, for sure.
Totally different.
Let's see. Troy says kids tell the truth as they see it and they want to really help. This is true. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Let's see. We're just looking in here really quick. Dawn says giving CPR instructions to a child is so difficult. Yeah. No, I'm right there with you. Karen says there are rules to hide and seek. Stay in the original house.
Yes, agreed.
Right.
It's a good rule.
And when getting creative, don't get too creative because I remember taking a few calls where kids would go and hide in either the washer or dryer
Yep.
and then get stuck.
Mm-hmm.
And then it turns into a whole other thing.
Right.
And those are crazy as well.
Technical rescues, yeah, whatever. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I remember the washer one that I had taken. It was just screaming and screaming, and they're trying to like yank the kid out. I'm like, no, 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 no.
Do that.
Yeah, because she was, I mean, it's thinking about, and this was an older washer as well. So if I remember, and this was a while ago, so if I remember correctly, it was one of those that, because not all of them have it now. Now it's just like kind of an open, tank,
Yeah.
but it had one of those poles like going up into the top. So I don't know how they were intertwined into that whole thing, but it was something else. They got her out though. I just remember it was a crazy one. It was towards the end of the night. It's fucking nuts.
Yep.
Let's see. The next one was out of Ogden, Utah.
Mm-hmm.
It's with Cody again. And another crazy one. This one was a child abduction, right?
Yeah, parental kidnapping type child abduction thing. Yeah, grandma had custody of the kids. Daughter shows up, steals the car, and takes the kid. And then it's like this kind of weird backing in and out game and a little mini pursuit there.
Mm-hmm. I love the fact that they not only show the ETAs, but they show the map and they show how everyone is catching up and going up and everything that's going on.
I love that too. And how people give instructions over the phone. They turn left at the stop sign and they're going to go past the grocery store, but the dispatcher's like, they went west on this road. I mean, if you have that visual picture, it's a skill. It's awesome.
Yes, definitely. Just that whole call was pretty crazy because the daughter kept going back and forth, right? We kept going back and forth by the mom's house, and then kept going in and out of the driveway, and then officers get there and ends up right before they get there, she ends up taking off and pulls up to the stop sign, right?
Right.
And the caller is like, I'm gonna go down to the stop sign, see if I can see her. But then she starts hauling ass. She starts running.
Yep. And in the old days, they'd do that with the cordless cell phone and you'd lose service.
Oh, right. Yeah.
I got too far away from the base.
Yeah, man. Damn.
In the old days, I mean like 10 years ago. So
I know, right? It's only that long ago. And some people still, they still have landlines and, cordless phones.
That's right.
Oh shit. I feel old now. Damn. Thank you.
You're welcome.
You can hear like the tires screeching and everything as the person is going by, pulling in, pulling out, and then taking off. And then let's see, the daughter ends up kind of taking off, right?
Yeah.
On the officers, but then doesn't she also back up into?
Sounds like she tried to back up into one of the patrol cars. Yeah.
Yeah, it just went to hell from there. But it did end up quickly, after that. They end up pulling her over. They end up getting her out. She's sitting on the side of the road, and you can hear the infant crying.
Right.
Craziness. Ogden, Utah.
Happens everywhere.
I know. I know. um, so then the second to the last call that we got here for this episode of
Mhm.
emergency call, we're out of Austin, Texas, and there this one really made me think about a lot of calls that I had taken. One specific one that I will
Yes.
talk about here in a little bit. But what happened with this one?
So this one started out. They kind of did the backstory on it, how there may be a decrease in bar fights and things like that because things are closed, but we're seeing an uptick in mental health calls and
Mhm.
suicidal calls and different welfare check type calls, which is what this one ended up being. But they have a brother that tested positive for coronavirus, and their dad was staying with them, and they haven't heard from them in a few days, which is never a good scenario to begin with. So they end up sending help that way and get on scene to find packages on the doorstep, which is also a bad sign. Typically, mail piled up, packages on the doorstep.
Yeah, that right there is never a good sign. So with that being said, I remember working phones one evening, and I'd come in, and I'm pretty sure it was the first call of the shift, and I knew it was going to be probably a crappy shift because I get this phone call, and it was from a mail lady, and she called up and she goes, you know, I'd really like for somebody to come out here and do a welfare check on this gentleman that lives here. I come here all the time, drop off his mail, but it's been like a week or so, and his
Yep.
mailbox is completely full. Like no one has come out, and today I see the doors kind of cracked open, and I thought, oh, that's not going to be good. And she goes, "Do you want me to go in?" And I was like, "No, no, do not go in there. You can wait down, the roadway or whichever, or if you want to yell out to see if anybody answers." And the person ended up saying they just wanted to wait down, the road.
Yeah.
And officers went out there, and as soon as they walked in, they told us to get somebody else to head out there as well. The gentleman who lived there, he he had passed away,
Mm-hmm.
and he had dogs,
Mm.
and you can imagine what happened with the dogs.
Yep.
It was not good, man. Like they started telling us what was going on, and one of them had called me up and was telling me. I was like, all right, that is pretty gnarly right there. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that just like that. I was thinking, just like James was saying here, thought it was going to be, DOA with the both of them, and the way they were talking about the father having heart failure,
Right.
the package had what the medicine and probably
And the
his
phone.
phone was in there as well, right? And he
Yep.
was downstairs.
Right.
He was staying downstairs.
Yep.
Um,
Which is where they found him.
Right, and things got a little weird when officers got there because they didn't see anybody. There was a light on, but then they did see someone, and there was dogs in there as well, but the guy
Mm-hmm.
wasn't really communicating well, so they had 2 EMS units going out.
Right. Which was the best thing for the scenario for because they both needed help.
Mhm. Again, crazy shit, man. A lot of
Yep.
different stuff going on, but all real. All real.
Yep. Yep.
Um, the last one the last one is out of Alaska. And this is a boat accident. It seems like every time they've shown Miles so far, it's been some sort of accident.
Yeah. Some sort of something. Yeah. Accident, water rescue.
Yeah, and I think they even say something towards the end of it where they were saying, "Oh, they're so happy that they got Miles because everyone made it out okay," or something like that.
Yeah.
Now this was a boat accident. It was on the river. There was a kayak that flipped, but did they say that there was another group on a kayak who went to try to help them and they
Yep.
flipped too or
And they
something?
flipped as well. So there were like 5 people
Mhm.
that needed assistance.
That yeah, and they start talking about hypothermia and everything and how it sets in and how fast it sets in and their breathing and everything else, and the caller is, trying to get them into a huddle so that they can stay warm,
And of
and
course, they don't have the best location. Two
right.
curves down from the campground, so relying on the resources that you have to try to figure out where they were.
Mhm. And, Miles does get those he gets those coordinates.
Yeah,
I find out where they're at. Rhonda is also talking with him saying, they're probably on the sandbar in this
right.
location. So at that point, I think there was about 5 minutes, 40 seconds
Yeah,
in response time to get out there. And they had called out for a dive team.
right.
They're out on ATVs. They're also jet skis and stuff.
With
And
parkas.
yeah,
I love it.
yeah, I ended up putting that in my notes here. That was
So did I.
awesome. It was, I think it was Josie who says,
Mhm.
"It's gonna be like Baywatch in the dark, in Alaska, in parkas."
Exactly.
Yes. And then at the end, everyone was rescued. They were
Yeah,
pulled out.
they needed that dive team that they staged, so that was a good call based on the location that they had.
Mhm. Yeah, no, they did it. Now, I wonder if they're taking a break, the show. Like,
Oh,
how when
oh
they've
yeah,
done so many episodes, like, they go kind of on a break, and
yeah.
then they resume after so much time. The only reason I say is because they didn't give, next week on.
Oh, that's true. Is there something going on next Monday? I mean, the next day is election day, but I don't know.
I'm not sure.
That's a good question. I like how, I mean, they did a great job on that water
Mhm.
rescue though,
Yes.
because if you live in a water community and you dispatch in a water community and you know how many resources go out on that and how many people, everyone does a great job, but they are a cluster
Mhm.
trying to find them. So it was pretty awesome to see how everybody comes together on that.
Right. Yes. Teamwork, showing
Yes.
all of that, that is always good. I like that they show that as well. Um, this is gonna sound weird. Which call was the water rescue one your favorite?
Mm, I don't know if it was my favorite. I mean, I've talked about the mopeds a lot. That one was pretty good. Probably, yeah, probably the water rescue.
I was gonna say, you look like you dig the water rescues being up in the area that you're at.
I do, just because we have regular. Well, if the water ever gets warm here, warm water rescues, and we have ice rescues too. So
This is
it's
true.
it's interesting to see what everybody else has.
Mhm.
But yeah,
Um, for me, I don't know. I mean, they were all and when I say your favorite calls, like, I mean ones that, you kinda relate to and stuff, and, ones like, I guess mine would have been more, this would be it would be the one with the daughter who had
oh
broken
yeah,
into the mom's house and, taken the child there.
I don't know if they ever have a show where they have a festival with 500,000 people that pack into a town of 17,000. That's totally my jam.
Yeah, that'll be your episode for
Complete
sure.
on the water. Yeah, takes over an entire city. People hanging from the Ferris wheel.
That'll be your call. Now, actually, there was one thing that, that came up that we were kinda talking about. So,
Mhm.
every
Yeah,
call so far has had a good outcome.
or decent. Yeah, good or decent.
Or
Yes.
yeah, good or decent outcome, and there have been, um, you know, the closure that's there.
Mhm.
So, for you and everyone who is watching right now and who watches in the replay, do you think that they're gonna end up showing any episodes that don't have a good outcome? Those hard outcomes, do you think that they might do that?
I do. I don't. I want them to, but I don't want them to. But I want them
Mhm.
to. But
Because
it's
in
it's the
keeping.
job. It
Right,
it,
yeah,
it
it's
really
a job.
is.
Um, let's see. Oh, I thought okay. We're gonna watch the comments here a little bit, but so to keep in realness, right? Would you say of
Yeah.
it or
I mean, they don't all have good outcomes.
This is true.
If you're going to highlight the career, you highlight the whole thing. So
Let's see. Brandon says, I think they may specialize a night that is all bad outcomes. Ooh.
like American Idol when they do just the bad singers. Totally different, but you know what I mean.
Yeah. So James says, I think they were hinting at it after this episode. It's possible. And maybe that's why they didn't say anything that's happening for the next one, because they might have a couple weeks off.
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, you might be right. I think they're probably taking a break and then they come back on, because it's what, 8 shows this season
Yeah, it's
or
8
this
episodes.
pilot. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see. James says, a tweet after the show next week, the call gets more intense. So maybe they're tweeting stuff that's talking about the intensity of the calls and all. And I don't know. Maybe that's what'll happen. Maybe they'll end up showing some not so good outcomes. Oof. I don't know, man. I guess we'll have to see next week.
Yep.
Next week for episode 6. Well, I think we did it. So we've been
We're
trying
close.
ever since the beginning that we started doing this to keep it at about 30 minutes for this recap, to not go too deep into the weeds. And we're at 36 minutes. Woo!
Nailed it.
I think we did it.
Ish.
That is good. I do want to say something really quick. This is off the topic of the show, but if you have not had a chance, make sure to head over to 911conference.org. Let me put this in really quick. There it is right there in the comments, 911conference.org, and register. Registration is for free for the IPSA conference. This is out of Illinois. We had an awesome first day, a lot of great sessions, a few technical difficulties, but we kicked ass. We got through it, and we've got day 2 tomorrow, the final day of the IPSA conference, and it is going to be excellent. I believe it is at 10 a.m. Central Time. I will be doing my Imagine Listening session. So if you jump on there with me and you end up coming on screen to share one of your IM901 stories, I have got these IM901 poker chips that you can end up earning during that session. So the first 30 minutes, Imagine Listening. The last 30 minutes, Open Mic Live. If you've been to the Open Mic show Thursdays at 10 p.m. Eastern, you know what you're getting into, and we're going to have some fun. So we will see you then. Leah, as always, thank you so much.
Have a good night.
You as well. And to everyone who's been watching, thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your night. If you're on your shift, enjoy the rest of the shift. And we will talk to you later. Have a good one, everyone.